U.S. military assessment teams in Iraq could be up and running within days, but the Pentagon says they won't be there to fight alongside Iraqi forces as that country battles a raging insurgency. Mark Albert is in our Washington bureau for a look at where this is all headed. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Anthony. Approximately 370 U.S. service members are in Iraq now at embassy facilities. The president has authorized up to 300 more in special operations forces to provide Iraq's beleaguered government advice and intelligence. The U.S. is already preparing for their arrival. The U.S. has now launched 24-hour manned and unmanned surveillance flights with land and sea-based aircraft over parts of Iraq to get a better idea of the strengths of the insurgent group ISIS, the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. ISIS has already captured major swaths of territory.
Look, everybody shares the proper sense of urgency here, and everybody's working on this very hard. I think it'll
Pentagon
be,
spokesman Admiral John Kirby said Friday 2 initial U.S. assessment teams will gauge the status of Iraqi forces, the situation on the ground, and how U.S. advisory teams made up of special operations forces might help beat back the insurgency. Kirby took pains to stress one point.
This is not a combat mission. This is not a combat mission. That's just the way it is. It is not a combat mission. This is not a combat mission. They are not there on a combat mission. It's not an occupation. It's not an invasion. Again,
more than 4,400 American troops gave their lives in Iraq during the 8-year war. White House spokesman Josh Earnest said the president is mindful of the loss, even as he approves sending some U.S. forces back.
There is a willingness by this president that has been demonstrated to act where necessary to safeguard the national security interests of the United States. And that applies in this situation, too.
The Pentagon said 3 to 5 additional U.S. assessment teams could begin arriving in Iraq over the next week for a temporary stay, and that no decision on airstrikes has yet been made. Benita?
Mark Albert in Washington this morning. Thank you.